want to start the podcast around fuck that shame shit.
Okay.
I I want to get out of the spell, and I want to talk about the ways we get out of the spell. Also, the harm in our society and in church and in places that children experience, and that comes from my own experience.
It's really interesting how quickly the church will say that we've lost our way.
Yeah.
And as somebody who has transitioned from church to spirituality, I now feel like the church has lost its way.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the second episode of Church, Faith and Spirituality for Everyday People. I am your host, Penelope French. Pronouns they, she, he. Don't forget that. And we got into a lot last episode. This episode it gonna get sexy, okay? Cause sex is sacred, but all right.
That's how you start? Let's go.
Absolutely. And today we have our guest. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. The fabulous.
Okay, so because I got to watch the last episode, so I'm gonna give it to you. I am the Bishop of Bliss.
Oh,
Okay, we gonna go with
like
the Bishop of Bliss for me.
Okay,
today.
Bishop. So
but my name
can
is
I call
Mixter
you Bishop?
Xero. I'll take
All
it.
right, Bishop.
I'll take it. Mixter Xero, a curator of expansion, is really where I sit. That's where my specialty sits. Expansion of the mind, body, and spirit. I have taken my wisdom of being a PK.
Okay, PK.
And taking it to traverse all of the parts that they told us to shame away. And so there's healing in the fringe, and that's where I really specialize.
Well, let's get into it, because want to start the podcast around fuck that shame shit.
Okay.
That is something I hold dear to myself, is fuck that shame shit. Because shame is, this is again my own definitions from my context, but shame for me is the things or the expectations of other people, society, so forth, of who they say I should be or the ways I should show up. And blame is the things the shit I give myself according to what I believe about what the fuck they said.
Yeah.
But I honor who I am and what I am fully, and that is this realization that church folks, we are humans, sexual beings, period.
And we gotta get rid of our shitty attitudes. We gotta get rid of our shitty attitudes. Okay? Because that inherently is going to apply shame.
Yeah, and I wanted to open up a conversation with you because we are here to talk about the spell. The spell that is how you were churched, what you were given, what you got from your grandmama and them, right? What was passed down, that's watered down, that you don't understand now. But you know that you know, right? Or maybe I need to be questioning it. And I want to get out of this spell, and I want to talk about the ways we get out of the spell, because I know from my own personal journey, because I see you as a spiritual leader, but I also see you as a liberator in our community, in our society, and naming you as that, especially because for me, I got to where I was through accepting my sex, my sensuality. That provided a pathway of liberation towards me to question everything else. And coming from being and growing up as a woman within the context of church, your sex and your sensuality is the devil. It is Jezebel, however you take that, because people got many different understandings of what that even means. But it is the serpent. It is the cause of the fall of humanity. It is all of those things. And as a creator that can bring new life into this world, I didn't want to bring a new life into this world and hand down to it the burden. I am the burden of humanity. And it was through my acceptance of, actually, I am the wild expression and power source of humanity. And that came through me accepting my sex and my sensuality, but that connecting back to what you do in many different ways. And it's almost like an anointing. I want you to know it's like you're anointing someone to go through this journey. As y'all, Xero is a shibari artist, but again, a liberator, a spiritual leader, that anoints a specific journey with surrender. And it connects back, and it requires you to engage all that you were conditioned to believe, know, and understand. And that was my experience with you. And one, I am grateful, but two,
Can we start at the top?
yeah.
Let's start at the top.
Yeah.
One of the things that I definitely like, rope is definitely one of my specialties for sure. But at the top of it is, I have a particular expertise of doing what I do with Black bodies.
Yeah.
Right? My goal is to expand the consciousness. And I mean body consciousness, I mean mental consciousness, and I mean spiritual consciousness. My goal is to expand the consciousness of one's own power.
Yeah.
It starts there. It starts with power. And when we talk about a conversation around Christianity or religion, one of my first moments of discussion is, how much of our power have we outsourced? And ways, and how much of it can we reclaim as source in us to build, grow, expand, empower ourselves. And when you really think about the spell, spells are powered by energy. Okay?
Focus,
and
intention.
You manifest out of your strongest emotions, energy and motion, right? You manifest out of your strongest emotions. What they want us to manifest out of is anger, anguish, right? They want us to manifest out of our hurt, our pain. And in that, especially, we can go into why and all the ways that the Bible was a mechanism for us to manifest through our anger, right? And if we really look at that, why is everything so hard?
Why is everything so hard?
Why is everything so hard? And it is intentionally so. It says that in order for us to get to power, we must hurt.
We must hurt, and we must normalize
extreme
struggle.
Ways.
And that's our Jesus.
So then when you have someone like me who got curious, and I was like, well, there's other extremely potent emotions. And
come on now, Bishop Bliss.
When we get into the other, we're talking about bliss. How can we manifest out of bliss?
Yeah.
Well, we first have to actually be able to access it.
Yeah, and when we say manifest, some of y'all, because I know the church.
No, y'all can't mix no words with that, because we use manifest in the church too. Listen. They got songs called manifest in the church.
They do got songs called manifest, but when it is coming out of something that's challenging, It's like, oh, y'all can keep y'all manifest. It's prayer.
And I mean, manifest ruled the radios.
It's, right,
back
it
in the
did.
day.
It did. I should play it.
We used to go in.
Okay. Yeah, no, that manifestation being in alignment with prayer, the ability to put focus and intention and emotion toward something.
Outcome.
And one outcome.
Because let me tell you something. If I could get political for just a second.
Okay.
We wondering why the white man has so much power. White man has so much power. It's because they are working. They are playing as hard as they're working.
They are.
They are playing. They are playing. Even those Republicans are playing, which is why we catch them on Grindr.
Yep. We
okay.
Catch them.
They are playing. They are the hardest players, telling us that we are wrong and that we are anti-Christian.
And they are on. Really, it is. You know, that's how we find out about their yachts that they got bribed with.
They are playing.
They literally.
They are sourcing that energy and they're taking it to the boardroom. And I want black bodies to know that.
Yes.
They are playing and then they're taking the energy to the boardroom and saying, I want $1 million.
And exactly. And I think that connected to the experience of how significant children and the play of children and the wonder and discovery of children are to energy and power.
I got a question for the audience.
And I mean, honestly, if we're talking about if we can talk about all the most harmed people in the society are this person being part of the LGBTQ, it's children.
It's children.
It's children.
It's children.
And they have something so divine and something we fight to keep.
What is it?
That we fight to keep that curiosity, that innocence, that we fight every day to keep that from our infancy, to keep our wonder.
Let me give it
to keep our imagination.
It's one word. Where is your imagination?
Imagination.
Where is your imagination?
Because we're put in society in ways that take that from us, and that's where the spell starts. The spell starts with children.
Chipping away.
It chips away at what you think you can do, what you think you can, and your excitement about it. Your overall, they say, oh, we losing dopamine. Come on, no. And also the harm in our society and in church and in places that children experience. And that comes from my own experience, being harmed, raped, and molested by people who were in my church community, and it being normalized, it being thrown under a rug, it being the ways in which, so now the kids can't go over nobody's house, you can't have no sleepovers, but we ain't going, but we ain't going to address the person who did it. We're not going to address, and that chips away at that piece. It keeps chipping. So Dr. Bliss. I mean, Bishop Bliss.
Yes.
Bishop Bliss.
Yes, and I think it's very poignant that you bring up children. Children don't know shame.
They don't know.
We teach it to them.
We teach it.
Right? We teach them shame. We teach them to shrink. We like you said, we chip away, and this kind of pings off of what you were talking about in the previous episode of by 18, we're expected to be grown in the church. We're expected to marry, right? We're expected to bear children soon after, right? That is the WASP mentality, and so even in when I describe kink, right?
Yeah.
I'm typically describing. I don't just talk about a definition. I make a picture.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're most of us, our parents, us millennials, right? Our parents had a dream, and it was the White House, the white picket fence,
have a dream.
the two kids, one boy, one girl. The
Say
dog.
something about that.
Okay,
Ooh.
the dog, the 2-car garage,
Yeah.
his and hers garage, right?
Yep.
And along with that comes missionary style sex
Yep.
for procreation only.
Oh.
That is the full WASP picture. And so the instance that missionary style sex moves into a toe entering someone's mouth, there's a ripple or a kink in the picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've made a kink in the picture.
Yeah.
It's now not a flat picture. It's got this weird it's like, wait, hold
Purity
up.
culture flattens that for us. It flattens that.
When people want to know what is kink, well, I want to enjoy my life.
My life. Because like I have that picture from my foundational teachings, right? I'm supposed to be abundant. I'm supposed to have heaven on earth. The kingdom is at hand in here now. Like I have these images that have been given to me, but then I'm reprimanded when I experience those emotions of
You can't color the picture.
can't color it in.
Okay, and I'm gonna get political for just a second. You can't color the picture, and also noted in that same statement that the pictures originally weren't built for black. Cameras weren't built to capture darkness. They weren't pushed to capture darkness in photos until the stallion, the black horse or the chocolate horse was unable to be captured in its elegance. That's when they decided to bring color into the spectrum that could actually capture black bodies.
Yeah. So tell me the spell for you and your experience. What was
in church?
From your foundations of being churched.
Being church.
How did that build your spell? And what did your spell look like? What was it called?
This is such a wonderful question, by the way.
Come
on.
Can you tell me what the spell is? What does that feel like in your body?
It is a multi-sensory experience. Okay? It took the ecclesia and made it a building. It took the people.
The church.
It took the people, which the ecclesia is the gathering of the people. Okay? It took that simplicity and it put it in a building. And then it said, it has to sound like this, has to smell like this.
What did it smell like?
It has to feel like this. It has to sound like it has to taste like this. It has to taste like the wafer and the grape juice, right? Like it is a full sensory experience. Yeah. And we call it consecration.
That's consecration,
when
but it's the conditioning.
When the organist is consecrated, they know the chord to strike. When the drummer is consecrated, they know the cymbals to hit while the organ is hitting this. Okay, when you're consecrated, the organist and the drummer know the syncopation that's coming with the bishop. This orchestration, okay, and it's beautiful. That brings us to tears. That brings us to ecstatic body experiences.
I mean, so much so we can't control our own.
We shouting, okay.
It's a possession. It is a. And
it's ancestral.
It's ancestral.
It's how they they took our
the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit, and being filled with it is possession. Love y'all. I'm gonna hold y'all hand when I say this.
I love y'all dearly.
Possession, and it's linked to.
But they're saying it.
Traditions, hoodoo traditions, African spiritual traditions, all the way back to the main land.
When you think about mainland. When you think, and especially in this day and age, when we have so much access to visuals and sound, I can't help but to think of the tribes that are still beating their feet
right now,
and the music and the rhythm
and
the beats per minute of their work, following it down through the Caribbean. Okay,
all right.
following
Shout
it
out
up
to Jamaica.
through South America and back up north again. The rhythm is the same.
It's the same.
When they say we don't need no music, we never did.
We
never did.
Because we were the drum.
And
the drum is everything.
And then to come and for colonialism to come and shroud, or for us to be smart enough to accept colonialism to shroud our work under it. Mm-hmm. Okay? To shroud our magic under it so that we were unbothered. And so that and it's the same way that Jewish people existed for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. When you wonder why Jewish people are so quiet in their worship, Jewish people had to hide for decades and centuries, so their worship became quiet. Mm-hmm. Ours was never quiet.
Never.
It was never quiet.
And that is why I think, and that's the special thing about Black people and our ability to stay connected, stay even when we don't know it. The Black church is the yes, the Black church is the image of us continuing on ancestrally without the knowledge that we're doing it because it's in our DNA. It is actively us holding on to those traditions and fighting the programming that we're getting. It's our own spirit fighting the programming. And
the millennials are tired of fighting.
Well, okay, child.
We're tired of fighting.
Fuck that job.
I snickered because you asked me, what does it smell like? What does the spell smell like? And I think about how our lineages, our ancestors, our loved ones, even still to this day, you know how they, like the women clung to Chanel No. 5. Yeah. Right? The mothers. Yeah. Right? Like it smelled like peppermints. Mm-hmm. Okay? And it smelled like hardwood floors. Mm-hmm. And it smelled like Pine Sol. Okay? It smelled like
olive oil.
Olive oil.
Okay. Well, olive oil with the rag on your head.
It smelled like grass from Palm Sunday. Mm.
Yeah.
Right? And there's certain things that when we move through the world, whether we're inside those four walls or not,
it's there. And we're connected to it.
You remember what grandma's hands smelled like.
And those are the things that actually navigate us towards ourselves, towards our people, towards God. Mm-hmm. That is proof of our connection with God. I oftentimes, a lot of people are like, I gotta lock back in. I gotta get closer with God. Man, I'm also gonna hold your hand when I say this. You have to do nothing to be connected to God.
Nothing.
Not a thing. And it aligns with Jesus paid it all, right? But the truth is, if you are an expression or material existence of God itself, what need do I have to go and find some way to connect to something I am of? And that is what ancestry really is about, which is why you can look in the Bible and see all these names, and y'all don't know why y'all quoting these names inside, but it's giving you an ancestral connection. It is actually ancestral veneration of ancestors y'all don't know. So y'all be saying that shit, and y'all be
I feel like choosing violence. I feel like choosing violence.
Don't hold back.
So it's because what I'm hearing is like it's really interesting how quickly the church will say that we've lost our way. Yeah. And as somebody who has transitioned from church to spirituality, I now feel like the church has lost its way.
Its way.
Because in spirituality, they're still holding frankincense and myrrh.
But that was a part for you.
When you asked me about the smell. We're still
on the altar.
In spirituality, we're still talking about frankincense and myrrh.
It's on or altars themselves. Why is it spooky
gifts
for
that
somebody?
They gave Jesus are still very much active in spiritual practices. And y'all are shunning it.
Why is it spooky for someone to have an altar at home, but it's okay for them to have it at church? But you tell them on Sunday when you preaching that you can't just come to church. You got to make sure you in your prayer closet and you make sure you're doing this, but they can't. Like the correlation of using like logic and common sense, because God makes sense. I want to be clear with y'all. When I say this, God makes sense. You wouldn't even be here in your body, breathing, blinking, thinking. None of that if God didn't make sense enough to put you together. Right?
God is a complete statement.
A period.
It's up there. God
Right?
is a complete statement.
At the
Like
end.
and mind you, I came to that on probably, I think I had microdosed some shrooms and I was sitting on a yoga mat.
Oh, yep. God.
God is. And I literally was sitting there like, well, if God is, God simply is.
Yeah.
There's no blank to really, if you're really talking about God, like big G-O, big G, big O, big D, God.
Yeah.
There's nothing to fill in that blank.
There's
There's no words.
There's no words
that are actually appropriate. There's no gender that's appropriate. There's no shape, no form that's appropriate.
There's
because
no
you
devil
are putting a
that's
shape on
appropriate.
God. God is bigger than anything that a human can imagine as a type of structure to describe it.
And that is the thoughts and the understanding that we can use to continue to build how we see the world. Like you talking about how big God is. I used to say to people, yo, God must not be that big. That literally, like, and my mom used to be like, you can't talk to people like that. And I used to be like, I really want to, yo, God must not be that big, because you can't tell me God is omnipotent. You can't tell me that God is all things, the creator of everything, and then tell me that it's some other person that God created's fault, the devil, that I'm not like the concept of good and evil. So, evil was created by the creator who you said created all things.
So now we get into the conflict.
So there's the contradictions, that are so major that we are not willing to sit with, wrestle with.
Imagine,
like,
imagine preaching about Job at 14. Imagine preaching about Job being a well-kept 14-year-old. Okay? I think back, as I was listening to the previous episode, I was thinking about, I preached my first sermon at like 12. Young. And then my second sermon was at 14. And then my bishop pulled me in, was like, you can't keep preaching outside. We need you to come home.
Yeah.
So that second sermon I preached twice. Hast thou considered my servant Job? And we talking about a story where suffering and the surrender to suffering is a conversation between God and the devil.
Rather than Job and God. The devil has been an scapegoat for self-accountability.
Wait a minute. Hast thou considered my
self-accountability? And this is again, this is my theology, Penelope's philosophy, my shit. The thought for me personally is heaven, hell, devil. Why? And usually the devil comes up when it has to do with my dark pieces, my shadow. Mm-hmm. The devil only comes up when the shadow pieces of me not knowing how to manage money, me not knowing how to tell the truth, me not knowing how to, you know what I mean? It comes up as a place of accountability, but that was a part of the indoctrination. That was a part of the pieces of, if you make this relationship, actually, Holy Spirit, I want your relationship to be better with the devil, so you stay here. And that keeps you wanting to chase after God. Yeah. You have access to the devil easier than you have access to God.
But let's start at the top again. Why would we assign anything to be under the control of the devil? Or
why?
Because they want to limit our power.
Exactly.
Right? So if sex is of the devil.
Let's get into it.
If bliss is, if good sex is of the devil. Let's be clear.
Good. Because
the actual sex, the actual type of sex that actually brings about the flowering, where the body does what it's supposed to do in response to the stimuli.
Yeah. Snicker.
when it does that, that is of the devil. Yeah. It is of the devil. It's of the devil for a woman to have an orgasm.
Yo,
that's crazy work.
It's crazy work, and it's actually, again, how big is y'all God?
That's crazy work.
God is good.
But but how about when you've had a real orgasm? You know you've met God. But how about when you've had a real, you know you've met God.
They're right there.
They're right there.
They're in it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I have they them pronouns as well. So there's a divine feminine that lives in me that is very loud.
Yeah.
But when you are in a state of bliss at the top of it, and somebody can maintain you being there, how much information do you come back to this reality with?
Yes. How much baby?
You be knowing everything.
Wait, not just how much information, but what happens after.
What happens
because
after?
I think that it's important to name that sex is spiritual.
It is sacred.
It is a spiritual and sacred act, which is why procreation is such a big deal around doing this for, right, if you can create a human from this, the one thing that we can do to the ultimate degree is duplicate ourselves, right? So if you can create a human through sex, then there is a ritual to the process of what sex is doing or when it's happening. And when there's no baby at the end, what happens to all that power?
Why? How?
But where does the power go? And if you're not intentional in your sex,
and we're curbing the access, right? Because if I bring in tantra to the situation, if I bring in tantric sex to the situation, a sex that is curated around the worship of the mother, of the woman, through its lineage based, right? We're talking about something that takes all day.
All day.
It starts in the morning.
In the talk.
And it goes all the way through. And there's setting, and there's smells, and there's visuals, and there's tastes. And there's because you ain't really talking about nothing until you've licked honey and clarified butter and roses off of the flesh of your betrothed, okay? But when you have a child under the energy of all of that intention, you have a miracle child. You have a brilliant baby that knows itself, that is self-assured. There ain't no breach in that baby.
Yo, and the pieces around, like, the reason why I was speaking of the ritual pieces of that, this is why, what people call sex magic and so forth, is all your focus and intention being in one place. And as we're moving towards this, it's a process towards procreating, which is the ultimate magic you can do as a human. When you're not getting to the point of, okay, the ending is I'm ejaculating inside of someone to do that, there is still a point where I am I'm talking about my own experience. I'm actively there, like, what do I want?
What do you want?
What do I want?
Because this is the time to call it out.
This is the one moment, because I've done the process.
This is the time to call it out.
In it. But we honor ourselves. It was through, like, for me, it was through my understanding of my sexual liberation that I found myself even falling into a place where I'm like, wow, I'm so powerful. Sensuality.
Say that again.
You feel,
wow, I am so powerful.
Everything, right? We don't know what nothing is except by our emotion and our feeling.
And they don't want us to.
They don't want us to feel anymore.
They don't want us to feel deeply.
They don't want us to feel deeply. So
Spirit is on me right now.
in
here
it,
like,
in it,
because here's the thing.
in it,
We
it's
talk
like,
about on a very surface level. We talk about the lack of sex education, right?
yeah, really,
And in a real life, in a
Deep.
real everyday situation.
And that's what we're here for.
But we don't really recognize how deep that lack of education goes.
Where does it start? Because in school, and telling you,
Because that's the top end. We want to talk about avoiding STDs and all of that.
all
That's
of that.
That's one version
aspect
of sexual education. But when you go deeper, if you actually learn, I'm gonna stick with Tantra. If you learn Tantra, you actually learn to plan.
Yeah.
You learn to move in sex with a plan.
And intention.
So the lack of planning is how we have so many children out of
what they
wedlock.
call it, wedlock.
I was trying to stay away from it.
No, we gotta use language they know. Wedlock.
But we have so many children because we're not teaching
Yeah.
the full sacred nature of sex.
And I feel like the children themselves get misplaced or feel misplaced because of that. There's a lack of intention around bringing them forth, but just in general.
Can I make what I'm saying make sense?
Just
a little bit.
The past, I feel like you bringing it in because the sexual education piece is huge.
It's so missing
because it's connected to purity culture.
It's so missing.
We have so many people being raped, violated, molested, harmed because of purity culture and the lack thereof educating and having people don't even want to talk about sex. And so y'all get uncomfortable about, I'm about to lay it on y'all asses. Y'all uncomfortable about LGBTQ folks. Y'all uncomfortable about us because you don't talk about your own sex. You have no relationship
you have
to
no
your
map.
own body, your own sensuality. You don't know what that feels like.
And no discipline. Because I'm bouncing off of what Devontae said in the first episode. You don't know discipline. You know intolerance.
Exactly.
Because when you know discipline, you can imagine a man knowing how to wait 21 days for the day of ovulation to align for it to be the optimal point to bear the child. 21 days of actual mindfulness and ritual and ceremony around his woman.
And the intention of that.
To be able to know when the peak opportunity and you spend that whole day together sacredly. Like, that's the type of education that we're missing because we're taught to cut it off.
Yeah. Why is the government teaching us sexual education but our spiritual beliefs are not? Why are the places where we're aligning with,
there will be too many black babies.
Listen, and so I think
fear.
I think that again it's so important. It's like you folks in their relationship with sex, it's the one thing that makes our world go round. Sex is the one thing, like, we care so much. Like, oh my gosh, Jamal Bryant's wife cared.
My God.
Wore the dress.
The dress.
And it's really not about her. It's about people's relationship with sex. It's about, for Bishop Wooden to get up in the pulpit and say some crazy shit like call her a $2 whore and then be like, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about what her husband said. No, you're talking about her, and you're talking about your uncomfortability with seeing women and what that makes you feel inside in your relationship with shame and anguish and your uncomfortability. And then the women who are having comments about it, your relationship with wanting to centering men and centering that in your own sexual experiences and how you're supposed to be and it has to do with sex. And unfortunately and fortunately for Dr. Carey, I think Dr. Carey has a relationship with her own sex. I have always seen her wear clothes that complement her body. And
fearlessly.
Okay. And so ultimately, I think a lot of the breaking of the spell has to do with being wild. I think allowing yourself to be wild.
Because and to your point, when I talk about me being the Bishop of Bliss, and I talk about repositioning people's relationship to surrender, surrendering to self, surrendering to the wilds, and all of those things. What I'm talking really about is being just bold enough to.
Yeah.
And what if more black people, black and brown people, were just, they had an attuned nervous system to be able to just be bold enough to be bold enough to ask for the $1 million.
Be a little bit more kinky too.
To be bold enough to be a kinky. That is the same boldness that you're going to use to ask for your first $1 million, or your first $5 million,
or not ask for it to make it,
or demand it, or command it before even that, not even having to
call
demand
it down, call it down. Yes, reach down.
Because a lot of us don't have the boldness to actually. There's a lot of us, not all of us, but there's a lot of us who don't have the power because we've outsourced so much of it.
We've outsourced it, but we've not again stepped into it. So
and outsourced. We've outsourced it, and we're forgetting that we are made in God.
Yes, absolutely, fully made in God's image, and owning that ownership of this is what my world is going to look like. This is what I'm going to experience, and knowing that God is always with you when you're doing, and you're doing. And why would God and all the things you were taught, the God that you know, abandon their creation? And so, as we move through, we're wrapping up. I just want to take you through. Yep, come on, we finna do the game.
Oh,
I'm finna do some church.
I'm scared.
Some church sayings, okay? And you gotta finish them. All right, you ready?
Okay, yes.
God may not come when you want him, but
he'll be there right on time.
Okay, all right. I don't look like what I've
been through.
All right. If he did it before, he can
do it again.
Wow. Come on, where the church at? Won't he do it?
Won't he will.
I'm still here by the
God.
Yes.
Wow.
The devil meant it for evil, but
it turned out for my good.
Okay. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for joining me.
That was so good. I
appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much. I was like over here like, oh, I really am the Bishop of Bliss. There's like my nervous system was very charged
for all of my people who are foundational church members who have, this has been your life. You grew up in it, millennials. I'm talking to you. Stand up in your post wherever you are. Please. Wherever you are, and heal.
Just as
and
you
see,
are.
And just as you are. All right. Ashe.